What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Cut the Crap. I'm your host, Christian, here with my main man, Rex. How's it going today, Rex?
We chilling, enjoying this evening,
We vibing, we having a good time out here, doing the thing. I hear that. Unfortunately, Steven couldn't join us as had some last minute changes. I ended up having to go to the movies with the family today. We saw Inside Out 2. That was a really good movie. So got home a little late. Steven's already in bed sleeping. He likes to get up at 4 in the morning, so he's got to be in bed early. But yeah, it's definitely a good movie, so definitely enjoy it. But we're gonna jump right into today's topic real quick, and I want to bring this up because this is something that it doesn't only affect Americans. It's apparently happening in Canada. We talked about it a little before then, and it's happening in a lot of places. So what's going on is the income, the wages that are needed for Americans, and not only Americans, Canadians, and I'm not sure about other countries, but right now it's really big in America, how minimum wage is affecting America. The federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.25. A lot of states, of course, go above and beyond that. But I read this very interesting article today on Fox 35, and it just it puts stuff in perspective for me on how really bad is out there. So they did a study in the whole state of Florida of how much the cost of living would be in the state of Florida, right, for somebody to live there. And for a single person, one person to live in a studio apartment, that's like a 400 square feet apartment, have to make $46,000 a year with no children. Just for the studio, bro. I remember growing up when I was 16, 17, started working. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get my own place. Looking into a studio place. Studio apartment used to be like $500 a month. $600 a month for rent. And now we talking, you gotta make $46,000 a year minimum.
I remember over here when growing up, I guess I would say middle school towards high school.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be before 2012, 2008, 2012. I remember seeing security guards and decent security guard jobs, you were able to get an apartment, because that's how I used to look at things. Your job would basically kind of see how you're situated out here, right? So unless you're living at home or already in a house, whatever. But for most, I kind of go off of a bachelor identity. Back then, security jobs, you're able to get a place, get a little car, and you were living well by means. But yeah, now it's different over here. It's $16.55 per hour, but it still
That's
equates
the federal,
if you do the
federal
math.
wages in Canada.
Yeah, that's the minimum. Minimum wage. But yeah, if you switch that over, it's probably just maybe a little bit more, if anything. But then it gets taxed, and
Of course, everything gets taxed.
Yeah, but we're notoriously higher than you guys.
Yeah, yours is $16.65 US dollars to $17.30 as of April 1st of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, bro, $17. That's a lot for minimum wage. US dollars.
You think that's a lot? Oh, okay. Yeah.
US dollars. Yeah, bro.
But again, it's not considering the I think it's to 13%. So
yeah, but I mean, that's everywhere. Here it's the same thing. You still get taxed on everything like that. So for instance, the highest state here in the United States that has the highest minimum wage outside the federal regulated one is the District of Columbia, and their minimum wage is $16.28.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you guys
What's
are beating us.
Yeah,
you guys are beating us for minimum wage, and that's the District of Columbia. New York's minimum wage is $16, Connecticut $15, In New York, I meant New York City, I should say. The actual state of New York is $15. Maryland, $15. Massachusetts, $15. So there's a lot of, you guys are paying a lot more than what it is. But
So, from my understanding, which makes a popular state for retirees of Texans, but it says you guys in Florida no state income tax.
in the state of Florida, there's not. But in, like, for instance, I
Correct.
lived in the state of Virginia. You have state income tax, you have property tax, you have all these other different taxes they hit you with. You got to register your car yearly, have it inspected to see if it passes inspection, to be able to even drive your car on the road.
No, which I understand. Like, there's different means for why you may not pay this year.
Different.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But okay, so where I'm getting at is on an average check, you can get taxed anywhere from like I want to say 5 to 13%. I just looked up New York's the max they get is 10. So if you go full tax rate, like it's getting chopped down to just around the same.
Okay,
and that's
I see
with
what
the
you're
tax.
saying. So
you
it's
know what I'm
about the
saying?
same. Okay.
Right, yeah, it's basically about the same. And then, to get into it more, right, like what's happening is, like I'll dabble in it because I'm sure you have the topic, but the cost of living keeps going, so that's why like the minimum wage keeps rising. So it's kind of like a false hope.
Yeah.
Whereas in like it's not like nothing's changing in that sense, right? Like I remember learning that the hard way. I got another story.
No,
I
go
remember
ahead.
using to go to the corner store to buy bread. Right, this is all right. Yeah, everyone listening here, this is like two old men talking about money and how times have changed. But I remember going to the store and being able, like a toonie or like basically a $2, like two single dollars, right? You used to be able to get bread. I think in a span of 5 years, I end up having to bring like a $5 the next time or like $10. Like as I got older, that bread got more and more expensive
I
at the
remember
convenience store
bread being 99 cents.
Yeah.
All right. So let's not even go there. But the
Yeah.
reason why I bring this up is because using the state of Florida, right? This is where I read the article for Fox 35 in the state of Florida. They did a study, right? I'm going to name you the top 4 cities. All right. You have Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and Miami are the top 4 cities, right? To live in Orlando, a single adult for a 1-bedroom apartment has to make $48.22 an hour. In Tampa is $45.40. Jacksonville is $44.08, and then Miami is $48.52. All right. Now the salary equivalent to that comes out to, as you asked, hey, Orlando, that means you have to make about $100,000 a year to be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. For Tampa, $94,432, Jacksonville, $91,686, and Miami, $100,922. All right. Now let's make it interesting. You have 2 people, you're a married couple, and you have 2 kids. Well, you ask Christian, how much could it be then? Glad you asked. In the state of Orlando, or in the city of Orlando, you and your spouse combined will have to make $212,000 and $212,160 to live comfortably in this city of Orlando.
So you can't make less. It doesn't come together and make less. It comes together and makes an additional more.
So you better be leveling up whoever you marry. In the city of Tampa, $209,498. Jacksonville, $208,666. And the beautiful city of Miami, $215,904 to be able to afford a 3-bedroom apartment / house, they say. Now, how did they come up with these numbers? A lot of people saying that's kind of ridiculous. They know places for cheaper. Yeah. This study was done by trying to have a cozy lifestyle, meaning you be able to pay your bills and everything and live comfortably. They use what's called the 50-30-20 budget rule. So which that means is allotting 50% of your salary to your needs, 30% to your wants, and being able to save 20% for savings or paying off debts. So of course, this is using that rule as how they figured it out. Okay, now this can all change depending on what rules and all that you go by and all that. But let's say you just want to live, comfortably in the, using almost all your money, right? Single bedroom, not going by that budgeting rule where you have money. We're talking you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck. Still, you would have to make for all 4 cities combined, and it's only off by a couple $100 per each city. It's $57,000 minimum as max of $57,400, which is in Miami. And that's living paycheck to paycheck for a 1-bedroom house. Like, that is crazy. That there's no way that you could do that. And especially in the state of Florida where minimum wage is $12 an hour, right? So $12 an hour times 40 hours a week, you're only making, $480, right? Times 2 weeks, that's $960 you're making a paycheck. Don't forget taxes, which is 7.5% in the state of Florida. So that's $72 coming out. That's $888. Let's not forget, 401, or you're not doing 401k because you're not saving. Let's not forget, though, you can't take Social Security out of that, or that always comes out. You can't stop that, right? You got Social Security coming out, which is probably another like $60-70. So you're down to about $810 a paycheck. So times that $810 a paycheck times 2, you get paid twice in a year, or twice in a month. That's $1,620. You can't even afford anything after rent. Anything. I mean, they just built a new place down the road for me. A 2-bedroom apartment is going for $2,300 a month. Apartment, dude. I'm like, yo, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
It's wild everywhere.
It is.
I don't know who they think they're making this kind of money, or they're telling me I'm not saving good, but they need to fuck off.
Exactly. So then it's like,
bro.
hey, this got my mind. Let's keep reading what they talk about. So then they talked about why don't government has to increase minimum wage. It has to. People cannot live the way it is. They talked about the pros and cons of reducing or raising minimum wage. So here's a couple of the pros. Let me know what you think. For pros, we got reduced poverty. So increasing minimum wage can lift many workers out of poverty and improving their standards of living. Obviously, you're not stressed about paycheck to paycheck. You're able to afford your apartment, all that. Okay, I like that. Boosting economy. Higher wages can increase consumer spending, boosting demand for goods and services, and potentially stimulating economic growth. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I started driving at 16, gas used to be 87 cents. I used to freaking put premium in for $1.02. I remember filling up at the Wawa when it first opened in Virginia. I remember this. Dude.
Good times.
Amazing times. All right.
Now gas is never under $1.
Yep. So the next one they have is reduces income inequality. A higher minimum wage can help narrow the income gap between low income and high income workers. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Increase productivity. Better wages can lead to higher employee morale and productivity. And then last but not least, improves health. Workers earning higher wages tend to have better access to healthcare, healthier diets to improve living conditions, which can lead to better overall health. So I just want to hit 2 things real quick and I'll let you talk on that one. Increased productivity. I feel like that would be a big one. A lot of people don't want to work no more. Bro, people got lazy after COVID, especially in the US, and they're happy with collecting these unemployment checks and all that stuff, and they don't want to work. You pay people what they feel they're worth, you'll get people back working again all day. And then improves health. I agree with workers that have higher wages tend to have better access to healthcare, diets, and stuff. I agree. I definitely feel like there would be better health. Why? Chick-fil-A, for example. You can't even go and get a chicken Cobb salad for under $10 now. Dude, I went Chick-fil-A to get a chicken Cobb with my drink and all. It came out to $12, $13. Like for a salad, dude. I might as well have fucking got a sandwich.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
I don't know.
cheap.
Like, I don't know if McDonald's been always doing that. Sorry, they
Bro,
they
it
always
is.
made their thing more than like everything else. I don't know if Chick-fil-A did that.
It's
too.
cheaper to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy. Like we try to
Yeah.
meal prep and try to eat healthy, but going to Whole Foods and all these healthy places that sell, all this is good for you type food, shits like that. It's so expensive. So expensive, dude. It's like, I'd rather eat unhealthy and save money, like because can't afford it. So I agree. What do you think about the pros that it listed?
See, I'm like on the in between about it because I feel I don't know. I feel you raise the wages, people
Well, we're
go
talking about the
people
pros
gonna
right
act
now.
like
We're talking about the pros. We're
yeah.
gonna get to the cons in a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about the
I don't know
pros. Do
because
you
this is
agree with any of
okay.
the pros?
I, under contingency. That's the thing. Like like I hear what they're saying. Like okay. Like definitely there's benefits in improved mood. I do kind of agree with you on like the social settings between lower income and higher income
Uh-huh.
people making money, whatever.
What
But
about boosting economy? What do you think about that?
um again, I think that would be more into what I would go into with the
A
negatives.
negative.
But
Okay.
I really think, yeah, like over the social morale or like, mental boost of seeing yourself making more money, I do agree with that.
Okay.
Just that.
All right. Well, then let's get to the cons because there is cons there. They only listed 5, just like they listed 5 pros. Increased unemployment. All right. They're saying because that they're gonna have to pay higher to be able to get the minimum wage up for employees to be higher. They're saying some argue that higher wages could lead to job losses as businesses might hire fewer workers or turn to automation to cut costs. I'll tell you my thoughts on that after. Sorry. Next thing, higher prices, higher wages. Like you were about to say, there's going to be an inflation. Businesses may have to pass that increase of labor costs onto the consumer through higher prices, leading to inflation. Impact on small businesses. Small businesses with slim profit margins may struggle to afford higher wages, potentially leading to closures or reduced in hiring. Reduce hours. Employers might start reducing the number of hours worked by employees to offset the higher cost of wage. And then last but not least, exclusion of low skilled workers. Employees might prefer to hire more experienced workers at higher wages than making it harder for low skilled or entry level people to get a job compared to how it is now. I'll start with the increased unemployment. It's a sad truth in America, and we talked about this on another episode. There is a big problem with greed, and I think that's everywhere. I don't really think that's just America, but America is where I live, so of course I can speak on it. Employees are there for the bottom dollar. Okay, a perfect example: my company that I work for, I will not mention its name. I love the company to death. It's a great company to work for. I tell everybody, come work there. It's like an amazing place. My employer on their business, I don't want to say the name they use because it'll give it away, but pretty much their portfolio that they give to their
Blank.
investors. Huh?
I would just say blank if it's a pronoun, and you still be able to get it across without
They give a
divulging.
portfolio to the investors and they say what the company values are, right? And they list the 5 values, or actually, yes, 5 values. There's more than that, but I'm not gonna say how many. So just say 5 values. Their number 2 value is profit. They publicize that everywhere. Every every business meeting they have, every board meeting they have with their investors. It's on our website. It's in our ads in really small fine print, but it's in the ads. This company is there for profit only. Like that. That's their number two. That's their goal. Now, of course, every insurance company goal is profit. You know, that's how they make money. This and that. But no other insurance company actually puts that under their mission statement in the top 5. No company does that. This company does that. So this is what I talk about with the greed. You got people that are not going to want to cut the fat up top. They want to make that money. They want to make as much money as possible. So yeah, higher prices. I definitely agree. Just like how when I feel like our current president took over, he allowed for these prices to inflate so high and didn't do anything to stop it. That this is where we're at now. Things are starting to get overpriced. Reduce hours, maybe that might happen. I don't think so, because even if you reduce hours, you're still gonna need employees to be there. So you'll definitely have to hire more employees just working less hours, which makes no sense. But I do feel a lot of companies are leading anyway to robots, AIs. I know my company's doing it with AIs. We have a system where you could send pictures of your damages, and our AI system virtually writes an estimate, and then we have somebody that oversees it to just make sure it falls in line with our guidelines, or if there's any changes, we can make the changes, and the computer learns from that. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy, but they're doing that already. So that's my thoughts on it. I really feel that it will cause issues. Oh yeah, there's great pros, but the cons, these are the after effects we're gonna have to affect. Which that's what you were gonna get into, right? I assume.
Yeah. Because I mean, I don't, and I think it was what I was kind of stumbling on towards the beginning, but I don't think we should raise minimum wage. We should lower the cost of living. Because what we go on about is we don't go on about how much we make. We go on about how much things used to cost,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's the main point for everybody, right? Like as you said, gas used to be X amount, right? I talked about bread using to be this amount, right? We didn't talk about, oh, when I was like, working a minimum wage job, I could afford everything, right? Like it was just that things were just reasonable regardless of where you're at, right? Like minimum wage was just used to be like a social status for a job, but now it's really, tied and true of like what the reality is. And of course, too, same thing, not to get in with the whole government nonsense, but I really think North America, especially, US and Canada, have been carbon copying each other, because we've been kind of having the same thing going on up here, where someone has just been negligent, to say the least.
Negligent, not
in
even the
terms,
word.
yeah. In Yeah, they've been negligent in their point of power, right? So like I said, without getting too heavy into it, if you're Canadian, you know who they are, you know what it is. But again, like the government, and I know how we feel about that, but they ain't helping. So like, yeah, like essentially it just should be that, because they're right. Like if they have to raise the wage, they're gonna have to have like less people, and for sure you're gonna get more people that want to work, because yeah, like the money's good, but the people that get in, they're in, and then the others, what's it for them,
Yeah.
So your better bet is to lower the cost of living, so that means are easier to get by, regardless of wherever you are, in your job, whatever you make hourly, right? And if you are in person of need and you have, government assistance in any type of form or way, you're not feeling like it's being stretched out
Mm-hmm.
completely, right, over your essentials, where you can still kind of have the breathing room. And I think that's also why people don't want to work, because in a sense, like, and I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm a lazy piece of shit, absolutely. Like, I work hard to be lazy, so I earn it. You know what I mean? So I'm self-aware, right? And like, I'll earn my dollar. I do what I have to do, but at the same time, I'll work hard to cut corners. I'm not slacking off in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I earn my keep. But anywho, from that perspective, um, what's the point in working so hard if everything costs so much? Like, and I
Agree.
get that. And I get that, but for me and for you, I know we're hustlers, so we don't even worry about that. Like, we're just on to. I guess there's certain people who look at their dreams and they're like, yeah, I'm going to attain that no matter what, whatever the situation may be, whatever how many steps I have to take. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? And if more steps come up in the way, that's not a problem. But for others, it's more of like, oh, woe is me, in that kind of sense, right? Like, I'm just trying to get by and do what I have to do, and this and that. And for people that live in the now and tomorrow, and that kind of mentality, they're not trying to work, right?
Yeah,
Because they just see every day they just got to get up, work hard, go here, do this, do that, and it's all for naught, but it's really not. But again, I do understand that kind of mentality, and it does suck for sure. But as we all know, like, nothing comes in life and free, and there's no handout. So you gotta
exactly.
you gotta do what you gotta do. But the sentiment though, I do feel that. So again, to wrap it all together for me, it's I don't think raising minimum wage. I rather we lower the cost of living, and that would also give the pros and cons to everything, right? Where the in that sense, where like people will be less stressed out. People will be more inclined to work because things cost less. They don't have to, they can hire more people, right? And have a better rotation of shift wherever your workplace might be, because, access to means are easier. People are more willing to go out. People are going to be more friendly. I know people used to make, comedians make jokes about going to the gas station and hanging out and chatting. And, now going to the gas station, you don't even look in anybody's direction because of how much things cost, right? So,
Yeah.
at a time when things were easily accessible, people were more relaxed. But because that's not the case, people tense up. And again, like I said, I don't think raising the wage, right? I think you should just lower cost of living.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm glad you brought that up,
Hmm.
cost of living. Um, Fun fact, 1973, to be able to afford a $400,000 home, you only had to make $50,489 with an average inflation of 3.96. A dollar back in the day would have been, that means you only had to make $6.98, right? In 2020, to afford the same home, you would have had to make, right before COVID, you would have only had to make 73,000. So that's about a $20,000 increase, right? Not too
Hmm.
bad. Not bad. After 2020 and COVID, you have to make now $114,000. $114,771 to be exact, to be able to afford a median price home of the $350,000, which is about a 57% increase after COVID due to inflation. That inflation from COVID hit so hard. That is ridiculous. That is the biggest inflation in the history, they said, of the United States. It's from COVID.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
from COVID.
I wonder
So,
what if you compared the gradual rate of, like, quote unquote natural inflation to what COVID did, to see how many years that like spiked. It's definitely like, that's not like a, as they definitely sped up inflation age.
I'm trying to pull it up now. Inflation, um, the increase, does it show? Okay, here it goes. It does show. It doesn't go back as far. Let me see if I can find. This one goes back as 2018. Inflation was at 1.5%. 29, and this was January 2019. It started at 1.5%. January of 2020. You got to kind of roll with it. Sorry, it went up to
Hmm.
2.5%. When April COVID hit, inflation dropped all the way down to 0.2%. Right at the ending of COVID, beginning of 2021, inflation was at 5%. In 2022, inflation hit the high of 10.1%. And then it dropped back down. And right now we're currently at 3.3%, is saying the inflation rate from 2019.
Interesting. So it was okay, then it dropped, and then it spiked, and then it doubled from that spike, and then it's going down.
Yeah. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to bring it up because it was a great article. I thought everybody should read it, when you get a chance. Again, this is based off the state of Florida. I'm sure your local news did the same thing. Check it out and see what the inflation rate in your area is. And just let us know what you guys think. If you're in America, what do you think about this crazy inflation rate? Well, so many people are moving down to Florida, which Florida is closed. Go to Texas, go to Tennessee. They're offering you great rates on houses. Go there. But whatever. Let us know what you think about that. If you're in Canada, like Rex, let us know. Rex would love to know what you guys think about the income and issues that are going out there. And if you're
and Toronto's full too.
Don't go to Toronto. So.
Go to Quebec. Go to the East Coast. Go to
how about this?
Colombia,
go to Europe.
West Coast.
I'm sure Europe. I hear is living great. Go tell us how Europe is and tell us what your thoughts.
Tell us how France is and their healthcare and the babysitting access that they have, and go to Luxembourg. Go to Luxembourg for the education.
Exactly.
They're post-secondary. Europe.
Fun fact about France, or is France or somewhere in Europe. But when you give birth out there, when you leave, instead of getting a medical bill for giving birth, they actually give you $1,500, a month worth of diaper supplies, and a month worth of formula. Just saying, you leave with money, diapers, and formula for at least a month. Hey, that's a big help. US got some coming up to do. But anyways, let us know what you guys think. Like always, send us the email at cutthecrap with 2 P's 1@gmail.com. So that's CUTTHECRAPP1@gmail.com. Send us a message on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Discord. We'll love to hear from you everywhere. Like always, we appreciate you guys for listening and watching. Until next time, you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Peace.